They said Earth scientists could bring one emotional support item into the Galactic Science Corps. Most brought books. Rick McMuffin brought a horse. Thunderbuns was no ordinary stallion. Glossy coat, thick thighs, and a majestic stare that screamed, "I've seen things." Rick claimed he calmed him during test flights. In reality, Rick just didn't trust space toilets. The aliens were not prepared. On arrival, the Zorflak lab welcomed them both. There was a moment of silence before Dr. Zarnella, the lead xenobiologist, tilted her head and said, "Your apex specimen is this?" Rick grinned. "Thunderbuns is smarter than half my university faculty. And he doesn't plagiarize." Zarnella, 8 feet tall with bioluminescent freckles and hips that could pivot 270 degrees, circled Thunderbuns with something between scientific interest and interstellar thirst. She sniffed him. "Muscular. Musky. Minimal verbal output. Alpha energy. Yes, this one has potential." Rick blinked. "I'm the researcher. You submitted no credentials. Only this." She held up a Ziploc bag with one of Thunderbun's shed hairs and what might have been a half-eaten protein bar. "That's not even, oh my god!" The horse whinnied. Zarnella gasped. "Did he just speak?" "That was a sneeze. It was majestic." Before Rick could protest, 2 aliens gently escorted him to the companion lounge, which was essentially a padded room with a salt lick and a Sudoku book labeled Advanced. Meanwhile, Thunderbuns was prepped for the Universal Genetic Cloning Program, a prestigious and highly classified experiment involving hybridization, gestation trials, and if successful, eternal replication in the Zorflak Zoological Archive. Usually reserved for rare alien nobles or fungi with sentient feelings. Thunderbuns stood still the whole time, chewing hay like he paid rent there. An alien assistant whispered, "Is this creature sedated?" "No," Zarnella replied, gazing at him with reverence. "He is composed." Rick found out during a surprise livestream that his horse was being hailed as the specimen prime of Earth. "What the hell is going on? You're scanning his nuts like he's a Nobel winner." Zarnella popped up on the screen, smiling. "Rick, congratulations. Your mate is thriving." "He's not my mate. That's a horse. Species pairing is flexible. Do not be ashamed. We once married a sentient river." Rick banged his head on the wall. "You've got this all wrong. I disagree. This Thunderbuns is showing remarkable hormonal activity. He's just buff." A new alert chimed, scan complete. Reproductive sample successful. Rick's jaw dropped. "You took his?" "It was simple. He didn't protest." "He doesn't speak English." Zarnella raised an eyebrow. "Neither do I. Consent transcends language, Rick." Rick demanded to speak to Thunderbuns. He was granted 5 minutes. Standing in front of the glass, he stared at the horse who stared right back, chewing slowly. "You couldn't just poop on the floor and get kicked out, could you?" Thunderbuns blinked. "Now they think you're Einstein with hooves. I'm gonna be known as the guy who got overshadowed by a pregnant stallion." From behind, Zarnella whispered, "Pregnant?" Rick spun. No. No. That was metaphorical. Skin shows hormonal surges. Cell duplication. Uterine expansion. He doesn't have a uterus. He does now. Rick staggered back. "That's not possible." She smiled. "Rick, you brought us something miraculous. A creature that bends biology. Defies taxonomy. He is our anomaly. Our golden womb. I'm filing a lawsuit. Maybe 2. Zarnella's voice dropped. "Do not threaten legal intercourse with me, Rick." "You mean legal action." She licked her lips. "Do I?" Rick turned to Thunderbuns. "You got us into this." Thunderbuns dropped a casual, almost smug pile of space-approved manure. Zarnella gasped. "A sample!" A mechanical arm scooped it midair before it even hit the ground. "Molecular density, profound. Fecal intelligence, moderate. Possibly speaking in code." Rick muttered. I'm going to throw myself into the nearest black hole. Later, a lab tech tried to bond with Rick. We are not judging your attraction to quadrupeds. I'm not attracted. No need to lie. One of our staff once married a microwave. Cross-species passion is celebrated here. Rick snapped. You're all insane. Zarnella entered with a dreamy expression. His heart rate accelerates when I enter the room. He feels something. He's a horse. He thinks you're a carrot. And yet, he accepts me. You tried to French kiss his nostrils. It was a cultural greeting. Rick stormed off, yelling over his shoulder. If he lays eggs, I'm suing everyone. Back in the lab, Thunderbuns got a biometric tiara and access to the private suite usually reserved for intergalactic monarchs. He trotted in proudly, leaving Rick fuming in the lounge, holding a cucumber and a pamphlet titled, How to Co-Parent a Galactic Miracle. And somewhere deep in the Zorflak mainframe, an AI noted a new scientific classification. Thunderbuns, species, Earth, equine variant. Gender, fluid. Status, possibly divine. Rick sipped alien tea, stared blankly at the screen, and whispered, I should have just brought a cat. There was no way around it now. The official lab announcement had been made. Subject Thunderbuns is carrying a potential life form. Congratulations to all reproductive contributors. Rick's scream echoed through 3 decks. Zarnella beamed with pride. The incubation rate is unprecedented. Perhaps due to Earthium gut bacteria? Gut? That's a digestive issue, not a pregnancy. He probably ate a pillow. He is glowing, Rick. With possibility. He's bloated. He gets that when he eats too fast. Or when he's mad. Then he must be furious. She whispered, gently stroking the horse's belly. Feel it. Life pulses within. I'm not touching my horse's alien baby bump. This is already a crime on 7 levels of nature. Zarnella turned to her assistant. Prepare the sonographic translator. I want to hear the child's dreams. I want a refund on reality. Rick muttered. The lab buzzed with gossip. 2-eyed interns whispered to their 3-eyed colleagues. Did you hear? The Earth beast is expecting. With whom? Some say it was spontaneous. Others say the human used methods. Rick passed 2 aliens murmuring as he walked by. They stopped talking and bowed slightly to Thunderbuns. One of them offered a flower. The other slipped the horse a room key. Zarnella didn't help. She was dressing Thunderbuns in a satin lab coat and calling him Dr. Daddy. I am elevating his presence, she said defensively. He's not applying for tenure, he's passing gas and eating electrical cables. He prefers nutrient cords. He has taste. This entire lab has lost its mind. Another scan came through. The assistant blurted. High levels of amnioplasmic flux. Rick turned pale. What does that mean? Zarnella tilted her head. It means the womb space is very active. I told you, he doesn't have a womb. That's gas. It's a space fart baby. Rick, denial is a toxic emotional coping strategy. This isn't denial. This is biology. Your science is drunk. Zarnella's tone dropped. We are not shaming him, Rick. We are honoring his journey. I'm going to scream. Thunderbuns sneezed. The assistant gasped. Did you see that? He's communicating. He's in labor. He has hay in his nose. Another alarm went off. Lab code lavender. Immediate containment. No one knew what it meant, so panic broke out by default. The room locked down. Zarnella held Rick's shoulders. We need to prepare for delivery. Rick batted her hands away. Don't touch me like we're in this together. I'm not the co-parent of whatever interdimensional abomination is stewing in that gut. You should be proud. I should be drunk. She leaned in, eyes sparkling. Rick, do you want to feel the kick? I want to feel the earth under my feet and not get compared to a horse's side piece. But then the assistant pulled up the internal scan. Everyone froze. Wait, the assistant whispered. That shape, That's not a fetus. That's corn? Corn? Rick echoed. Alien corn, Zarnella corrected. Highly fertile. Used in experimental fertilization feed. Experimental what now? We feed it to beings who are trying to get pregnant. You fed that to my horse? He seemed open-minded. He eats everything. He once swallowed my phone. You've been giving him alien fertility grain and now you think he's pregnant with a salad. The assistant looked sheepish. He consumed 12 kilograms. He didn't even chew. Zarnella stepped back, blinking. So the skin isn't showing life? Just aggressive digestion? Rick threw his hands in the air. He's not expecting. He's just got the interstellar equivalent of gas. Thunderbuns belched. The lights flickered. A long pause. Zarnella whispered. It was so radiant in the scans. He's a horse. Not the Virgin Mary of alien corn. But the hormonal spikes, the expansion. You ever eaten 12 space burritos and tried to hold it in a zero-gravity lab? She crossed her arms. So he's not pregnant? No. He's bloated. And he's messing with you. Thunderbuns let out a slow, deep rumble. Then a fart that echoed like a war drum. The assistant fainted. Zarnella stared at Thunderbuns with a betrayed expression. But you looked at me like you trusted me. That was constipation. Rick helped himself to a chair. Maybe now you'll admit Earth biology isn't as sexy as you thought. Zarnella collapsed next to him. I studied for 300 years for this. I had dreams. I wrote poetry for his placenta. Rick paused. You wrote what? She handed him a notepad. The title read Ode to My Hoofwomb King. Okay. That's going in a drawer forever. Zarnella groaned. My career is over. I published 3 preprints. One was titled The Divine Seed of Thunderbuns. Wow. They had graphs. Wow. I drew the fetus in crayon. Rick handed her a cup of water. Welcome to rock bottom. Want to write a retraction together? Thunderbuns coughed, spat out a corn husk, and returned to chewing like none of it concerned him. Zarnella raised her glass. To the beast who humbled science. Rick clinked it. To the fart heard round the galaxy. Thunderbuns farted again. A console exploded. Zarnella sighed. We're going to need another assistant. There was no time to quietly erase the mistake. By the time Rick convinced Zarnella that Thunderbuns was just bloated with alien corn, the galactic media had already picked it up. Breaking, Earth, equine declared galactic miracle father-mother. Opinion, horse baby may solve time travel paradox. Poll, would you date Thunderbuns? Rick threw the tablet across the room. Zarnella caught it midair. He's trending on 43 planets. We didn't even trend when we invented tacos. She leaned back, eyes bloodshot. We tried to retract the pregnancy papers. The reviewers upvoted it harder. Said it was the most compelling erotic science they've ever read. It wasn't erotic. They tagged it as erotica. There's fan art. Rick gagged. Tell me you didn't submit the belly scans. They were beautiful. They looked like popcorn in a hurricane. A new alert chimed. The Galactic Tribunal had scheduled a live genetic lineage broadcast. Rick read the invite. Wait. Is this Alien Maury? Zarnella nodded solemnly. The Council demands clarity. Paternity. Or maternity. Possibly eternity. Rick facepalmed. You told them he was expecting the Messiah. I said messy and they misheard. Rick hissed. If you drag me on live television and someone says, Rick, you are the father, I'm taking the whole station with me. The show's set was built in 20 minutes. Aliens from 33 systems gathered. Some with popcorn. One with actual corn, looking nervous. A 6-eyed host floated down from the ceiling. Welcome to Who's the Daddy of this planetary anomaly. Thunderbuns stood under a spotlight, wearing sunglasses. The crowd cheered. Rick whispered, Why does he look like he's been preparing for this moment? Zarnella had mascara trails down her face. He glows with purpose. I think he's just digesting. A booming voice. Let's meet our contestants. First up, Rick McMuffin, the alleged co-parent. Rick was shoved forward. He raised a finger. I just want to clarify, this is a horse. Not my lover. I've seen him poop. That's it. Thunderbuns snorted in disbelief. The audience booed. Second contestant, Dr. Zarnella, alien scientist and self-proclaimed womb whisperer. The crowd gasped. Zarnella posed dramatically, holding a diagram of Thunderbuns with pink hearts drawn on it. I believed in him, she said tearfully. I named the baby Star-Lord Buttercup. Rick whispered. You're sick. Final contestant, random planetary fatherhood pool. Let's spin the wheel. A holographic wheel spun, featuring aliens, vegetables, a robot vacuum, and one guy named Greg. It landed on Greg. Greg stood up. I once brushed his tail in the hallway. Could that count? Zarnella whispered. It's possible. No, it's not, Rick barked. The host grinned. Let's see the DNA results. A tense drumbeat played. The assistant entered, holding a glowing envelope like it contained God. Rick stared. That's just going to say corn, right? The host opened it. Gasped. Looked at Thunderbuns. The results are in. He turned to Rick. Rick, you are. Rick stepped back. Not the father. Rick threw both fists in the air. Yes. Science wins again. Take that, intergalactic gossip. Thunderbuns neighed proudly. The host turned to Greg. Greg, you are also not the father. Greg fainted with relief. Then the host turned to Zarnella. She was already weeping. Zarnella, you are. Rick leaned in. Not the parent. She crumbled to her knees. But the way he looked at me. Rick helped her up. That's just horse face. He always looks like that. It's haunted. Don't take it personally, the host announced. According to our scans, Thunderbuns was experiencing extreme bloating caused by mass intake of alien fertility feed. No sentient offspring. Just violent fermentation. The audience applauded. Thunderbuns farted again. A child in the front row cried. Zarnella wiped her face. So we overhauled our lab protocol, installed a planetary broadcast studio, and launched a 600 terabyte misinformation campaign over indigestion. Rick patted her shoulder. Hey. Could have been worse. She blinked. How? He shrugged. It could have been twins. They shared a long, existential silence. Backstage, the assistant brought a bowl of corn stew and sat it next to Thunderbuns. He's a hero, she whispered. Thunderbuns knocked over the bowl. Ate the ceramic. The host approached Rick. We'd like to offer your companion a permanent seat on our Council of Genetic Anomalies. Rick sighed. What's the salary? No salary. But unlimited hay. Thunderbuns whinnied. Zarnella sniffled. I'll miss his belly. It looked so round, so full of hope. It looked like a party balloon ready to pop. I named the stretch marks. Rick blinked. You need therapy. Zarnella nodded. We have couples therapy on deck 4. Want to join me? Rick narrowed his eyes. We're not a couple. She grinned. Denial is the first phase of mating. Thunderbuns farted again. The host raised a finger. That one was real. I felt it in my soul. Rick clapped twice. All right, wrap it up. Show's over. No one's pregnant, no one's divine, and that horse is banned from carbs. Thunderbuns turned, kicked over a potted plant, and strutted off like a model leaving a scandal. The host wiped his brow. One for the books. Zarnella clutched Rick's arm. We were almost famous. We were almost sued by the universe. A silence followed. Rick nodded toward Thunderbuns. Still proud of him, though. Zarnella smiled. You love him. He's my horse. Not my boyfriend. Yet. Rick couldn't breathe without someone pointing and whispering. That's the guy who knocked up the horse. He tried explaining. Every time he opened his mouth, someone shouted. Deny it harder, Daddy. No one read the correction report. No one cared that Thunderbuns was never pregnant. Galactic gossip had already immortalized him as the Earth's stallion of fertility. Rick stared at the newest tabloid headline. He didn't breed the beast. But he tried. His inbox was full of invitations. A fertility cult wanted to worship him. A tentacle-based dating show wanted to cast him. One alien offered 2 moons and a ship for Thunderbun's used saddle. Zarnella, of course, was thriving. She leaned back in her hoverchair wearing a glittery lab coat and oversized sunglasses. They asked me to speak at the Interstellar Maternal Conference. Rick gagged. About what? Imaginary pregnancies and gas? I rebranded it as gut-based gestational possibilities. You turned burps into a PowerPoint. They loved it. Rick tossed a datapad on the table. This whole lab's gone from science to sci-fi telenovela. You're just upset because Thunderbuns got a sponsorship deal and you didn't. Rick grunted. He endorsed a protein bar, which is made of hay. It's cannibalism. Zarnella raised a brow. Still jealous? I'm not jealous of a horse. I'm horrified by a society that thinks bloating equals divine conception. She sipped her drink. Well, maybe if you did something impressive. He narrowed his eyes. Fine. I will. Oh? I'll conduct a real experiment. One that proves Earth science still matters. Zarnella grinned. Are you going to teach a goat to sing? No. I'm going to genetically modify corn so it doesn't cause alien pregnancy panic. She blinked. You mean corn that can't be misread by scans? Yes. I'm going to make sterile, boring diet corn. She clapped. Godspeed, bland king. Rick stormed off, fueled by equal parts shame and spite. He locked himself in Lab Bay 3, surrounded by DNA splicers and rage. 2 assistants tried to stop him. One ended up with glowing teeth. The other started lactating through his elbows. Rick shouted over the alarms. Science is supposed to be messy. 5 hours in, he had something. He called it Corn Zero. A strain of nutrient-free, scan-invisible, absolutely non-fertilizable corn. He fed it to Thunderbuns. No belly expansion. No glowing scans. No profits born. Zarnella visited the next morning. It's impressive. Slightly terrifying, but impressive. Rick crossed his arms. See? No divine visions. Just flatulence with dignity. She ran a scan. No anomalies. No false positives. You might have just saved the lab's reputation. He tried not to smile. You're welcome. But then Thunderbuns coughed. The lights flickered. Zarnella squinted at the monitor. Wait. That can't be right. Rick froze. What? There's a shape. No. It's small, but it's moving. Nope. And it's winking? Rick grabbed the scanner. That's a pixel error. It's waving now. I will slap this machine. Zarnella whispered. It's sentient corn. Rick banged his head against the console. Turns out Corn Zero had accidentally crossbred with a leftover DNA sample from a philosophical jellyfish. The resulting hybrid was non-reproductive but extremely judgmental. Thunderbuns had ingested a being that now lived in his digestive system and wrote poetry about the experience. Rick played the audio translation. A calm voice echoed. I dwell within the furnace of the equine god. His walls are tight. His rumbles endless. Zarnella whispered. It's beautiful. Rick whispered. It's deeply disturbing. The being continued. Do not call me child. I am the guest of the divine gassy palace. I will not be expelled. Thunderbuns belched in agreement. Rick pointed at the monitor. So now he's not pregnant. He's hosting a philosophical corn jellyfish in his gut. Zarnella was already drafting another paper, Womb as Hotel, the new metaphor for consciousness. Rick flipped a table. I was trying to fix the reputation of Earth. Not invent gut poets. Zarnella patted his back. Sometimes the real science is the weird friends we make inside a horse. Rick stared at her. She winked. Also, the jellyfish wants to start a podcast. Of course it does. A message pinged from the lab board of ethics. Rick opened it. Corn zero violation. Concern. Did not consult interspecies council before splicing plant with philosophical sentience. Fine. 1,000 credits or public apology in haiku. He screamed into a towel. Zarnella sighed. You were right, you know. Earth science is chaotic. Beautifully, tragically chaotic. Rick slumped. I wanted to help. I ended up inventing a freeloading corn ghost with opinions. She smiled gently. Progress. He blinked. We are not presenting this at a conference. We already got accepted. Panel title is, What if the baby was you all along? He stood up. I'm burning the lab. Zarnella held up a framed notification. Thunderbuns just got nominated for Galactic Cultural Icon. Rick paused. What category? Most inspiring misunderstanding. He laughed once. Then again. Then he couldn't stop. She joined him. The assistant walked in, holding a bouquet. The corn jellyfish would like to thank its host via interpretive dance. They watched as Thunderbuns nodded in approval. Rick sighed. You know what? Fine. Let's just roll with it. Zarnella smiled. See? You're evolving. He looked at Thunderbuns, who was now wearing a tiny robe and meditating. Rick whispered, If he starts a religion, I'm leaving this galaxy. The statue went up faster than the paperwork. 15 feet tall, made of edible metal, with glowing hooves and a prophetic plaque that read, He came, he ate, he inspired. Crowds gathered daily to worship, chant, and listen to live poetry broadcast from Thunderbun's belly, where the sentient corn jellyfish now served as the in-house philosopher. Rick stood at the edge of the plaza, holding a cho. He stared at the monument dead-eyed. They made his tail into a shrine, he muttered. People are tying prayers to it. Zarnella adjusted her ceremonial lab coat. Some of those prayers are beautifully written. One literally says, Please let my ex miss me like I miss you, horse daddy. That one got engraved. Rick crunched the cho. I thought science would make me a hero. I just wanted tenure. And now I live in a world where horse farts spark religious awakening. She smiled. Dreams come in strange wrappers. He turned slowly. Did you just quote the jellyfish? She winked. He's surprisingly profound. I'm surrounded by gas and madness. You're not alone. You're historically misunderstood. Thunderbuns trotted past, wearing a golden sash and 3 necklaces. A floating platform followed behind, carrying his new entourage, 2 alien monks, a jellyfish translator, and a surprisingly elegant cucumber named Fern. Rick sighed. He has a manager now? Zarnella nodded. Also a PR team. And a perfume deal. What does it smell like? Destiny. And hey. The jellyfish had published a book titled Digestive Enlightenment, Thoughts from the Cologne. It sold 17 million copies. Some of them were read. Rick tried to quit science twice. The galaxy denied both requests. According to interplanetary policy, Zarnella explained, your participation in the original horse skin qualifies you as co-founder of the equine ascension theory. You're now an honorary theologian. Rick buried his face in his hands. I failed upwards into myth. That's the human dream, isn't it? He stared into space. Do you ever wonder, what if we didn't mix up the scan? What if it was a regular Tuesday? She leaned in. We'd still be nobodies. He'd still be a horse. And I'd still be writing horny medical fanfic in my lab notes. Rick blinked. I knew it. You weren't the star, Rick. The belly was. A new broadcast boomed from the plaza. The Church of the Blessed Bloat had officially launched. Membership was already at 92 million. Weekly sermons were delivered via Belch. Thunderbuns was booked for the Galactic Peace Awards. His +1 was Rick. The universe insisted. I can't do it, Rick said flatly. I can't wear a tux and clap for a horse that accidentally founded a religion because he couldn't digest alien corn. Zarnella handed him a suit. You absolutely can. And you will. And you'll smile. Rick held up the pants. These have glitter in the crotch. Standard attire for cosmic fathers. Stop saying father. I was never. Too late. History already wrote the fanfiction. The award show was obscene. Floating stages, galaxy-wide live feed, and a massive thunderbun-shaped cake filled with helium confetti and moral ambiguity. Rick stood beside him, smiling like a hostage. The host boomed. And now, the winner of Most Unlikely Savior, Thunderbuns, the Enlightened Gut. Crowd erupted. Fireworks exploded. Someone proposed to their own clone in the third row. Thunderbuns stepped up. Nodded once. Released a long, slow fart. The audience wept. Rick whispered, "This is the end of rational thought." Zarnella held up her holocam. "Smile, Rick. This is history." He looked into the lens. "This is blackmail." After the ceremony, a diplomatic envoy from the 13th Nebula approached. "Our galaxy would like to invite Thunderbuns to be our spiritual ambassador." Rick muttered, "You have your own gods." The ambassador replied, "They resigned after reading Digestive Enlightenment." Back in the lab, things changed. The horse had his own office, complete with scented hay and an intern named Bryce. Bryce had a degree in interstellar theology and a nervous stutter. Zarnella had a new research wing. Rick? He was assigned to the food lab. Corn quality control. He didn't mind. "I find peace in simplicity," he told the corn. It didn't answer. That was comforting. Then came the final twist. Zarnella burst into the lab, waving a new scan. "You're not going to believe this." Rick groaned. "Please. No more blessed bellies. It's not him." He looked up. "It's you." He blinked. "What?" She held up the scan. "Your gut. You've been eating Corn Zero. It mutated again. There's a heartbeat." "No." "Yes." "I refuse." It wrote a haiku. Rick grabbed the screen. The message pulsed in golden letters. "I am your regret. Swallowed under pride and carbs. Now we both must grow." He screamed. Zarnella patted his shoulder. "I guess it's your turn." He fell to his knees. "I'm going to be the next holy vessel." She nodded. "Thunderbuns believes in you." "I don't believe in me." The jellyfish voice echoed from a speaker. "Belief is gas with better branding." Rick stared into space. "I want off this planet." Zarnella helped him up. "Too late, Dad. You're the sequel." Thunderbuns neighed solemnly. Somewhere, the universe applauded. And inside Rick's belly, something burped.